Awesome. So welcome back, Creatures of the Night, to another very special bonus watch along with my good friend from Twitter, Randy Turco, at Pokey's Little Dog on Twitter, as we continue this extravaganza of going through Undertaker's Tag Team Championship victories. We have already talked about his first victory at Fully Loaded with Stone Cold Steve Austin, his second championship victory with the Big Show at SummerSlam 1999. And now we continue with his third with the Big Show and SmackDown, season 1, episode 3. So the third SmackDown in history. Pretty strange to see early on that they're giving us a Buried Alive match, a pay-per-view quality match on SmackDown. But they are doing so here on September 9th, 1999, just less than 10 days shy from the actual date that it's happening. And I'm really excited for this one. What about you, Randy?
Yeah, we talked about it last time.
Mm-hmm.
Both of the previous two were awesome, but they're pay-per-views. So for me, being a Taker, Mark, I remember all the pay-per-views. So you remember Fully Loaded 98 with Sable's bathing suit or lack thereof. And you remember the tag team title. I remember Jesse Ventura being a part of that pay-per-view. And so you remember the card and the triple threat match for the title. But something unique about this one being on a random SmackDown where you don't necessarily remember the card or what happened that night. So I took the time, and I think you did too, to watch the whole episode. It was only 80 minutes without commercials. It was kind of cool to see what was going on in the Federation at the time, because you don't remember stuff like that. You remember WrestleMania cards, but not SmackDown cards. So I thought this was a nice little dip into 1999 to see what was going on.
Yeah, and for the past couple weeks on my podcast, I have been looking at Undertaker's Extreme matches. And the first two actually took me to classic SmackDown moments. First blood match on an Extreme SmackDown between him and Kane against Rikishi and Aku. And just last week, I watched the Extreme Rules between him and Jeff Hardy. Both matches could be definitely pay-per-view quality matches, but they're given to us on just a random SmackDown. One of them was like a week before Survivor Series in 2008. And another one was like a few weeks before, I think, the Royal Rumble in 2001. So it's like, there's nothing significant about these days that are happening on SmackDown, but it's just like this one that we're seeing with the Buried Alive. It's just, here you go. Here's a pay-per-view quality match on a SmackDown, enjoy. Basically.
Right. I wonder if it has anything to do with just trying to get SmackDown off the ground. It's like the third episode, as you said. So I looked it up, like the first, during this whole time, they've got the Dudleys debuting the week before this, the Bulldog back. The Bulldog comes back to the Federation after the screw job on this episode here on September 9th. And so he comes back and wins the hardcore title. Mm-hmm. They've got Vince McMahon winning the World Wrestling Federation title next week at the next episode after this. So Buried Alive tag team title change. So like they got a lot going on because I think they're trying to get the show off the ground. And it reminds me a little bit of AEW with Rampage off the ground right now. And so I think episode 1 was in Britsburg. So they had Britt Baker at her hometown, and that crowd was just nuts for her. And then episode 2 was in Chicago with CM Punk, and they went nuts for him. So they're doing everything they can to get that show off the ground. So it kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah, and speaking of Chicago, before we get started with our regularly scheduled program, it you were in my old stomping grounds. You were in Chicago, and you were also in Schaumburg. So please enlighten me and tell me how you enjoyed your trip, what happened, how was AEW Rampage and everything else that surrounded your entire trip there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw the footage, even on Twitter or YouTube, but that was maybe I've ever heard at a live event for sure, being there live. And I've been to a couple WrestleManias, and that was the loudest pop I've
Really?
ever. Yeah, I mean that was loud, and it was loud and it was long. I mean they kept going. And the CM Punk chants were starting before like they even started the show, but especially once his music hit, and then after he came out, I mean it was long and sustained. And that I've seen better nights of wrestling, I think, because a lot of the wrestling that we saw was a lot of the dark matches, AEW Dark. They taped a lot of those for YouTube, and we saw a lot of the roster. Maybe outside of Omega and Jericho, we saw pretty much everybody, but they were just in 2-minute squash matches. It was quick, 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 quick. But I've seen better nights of wrestling, but for moments, I mean, I'll never forget being there for CM Punk coming back after 7 years and buying that shirt that said I was there and stuff like that. That was a top 5 wrestling moment, I think.
Wow, to say that that's a bigger pop than what you've experienced at WrestleMania, that's yeah, because I made it a point to actually watch it on TV.
Sure.
And I couldn't hear his theme music from the television. So I really couldn't hear at first if he was using the cult of personality still or anything, because the fan thing coming through the television was incredibly loud. And it's like, holy crap.
And
I can only imagine how it was there.
Right, I was just going to say that. I always feel like it dies down a little bit through TV, so you can only imagine what it was like live then too. So it was crazy, and I got to give my buddy Gene, who I was there with, a lot of props, because he took off his sweatshirt and he showed his shirt that said, it looked a lot like his WWE shirt from 10 years ago, which is the point. And I regretted not buying that shirt 10 years ago, but it wasn't a Taker shirt, so I didn't buy it. I was like, no. And as soon as I saw that, and then it said I was there on the back, I was like, oh man, I got to get that shirt. And I didn't want to leave during his promo. The whole point of being there was to see his promo. So I didn't want to leave during his promo like some people did to get in line. So I waited till after the segment was over, but I got in line and my buddy came with me and we saw the line. There's 2 at the United Center. There was 2 merch stands on either end of this big giant concourse, and the lines wrapped around the concourse. So when I got at the back of the line for one, right next to me was the back of the line for the other one. And it was just wrapping around the whole concourse for that shirt.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, by the time I get to the front of this line, they're either going to tell me to get out of here, the show's over, or they're just going to sell out. I don't think they're limiting it to 1 per person or anything. And I'm like, I'm not going to get a shirt. And my buddy says, I got an idea. And he left. And I'm like, where are you going? And so I'm staying in line just in case. And I get a text probably 10, 15 minutes later. I really haven't moved at all. I'm still by where I was. And he texts me like, hey, I got the shirts. And I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. And he's like, no, I got the shirts. I'm sitting down. Get out of line. Come sit down and watch the Luchasaurus Jungle Boy match, the main event. And I'm like, I'm not getting out of line. You're screwing with me. I know you are. I'm not getting out of line and missing my chance at these shirts. And then they texted me pictures. They were all wearing the shirts. And so what he did was, and this is genius. So I'm going to share this with you because it's just me and you listening and nobody else at all.
That's right.
But he found somebody in the front of the line or close to the front that was alone. And he was just like, hey, if you act like we're together and let me slide in with you, like we're buddies and we came together, I will pay for your shirt, and then I will be able to get mine. So he found a guy.
That's genius.
Right?
That's like, genius.
Holy hell, that's amazing. And there was a lot of people that were complaining that they sold out. People are buying it, 5, 6, 7 shirts. They're buying them for eBay, and we did see them. I saw people were selling the ice cream wrappers on eBay. I'm like, come on. Yeah. Ice cream wrappers were probably $80 or $100. The shirt was probably $300 if you wanted to sell the shirt.
Oh my God.
Because they were selling them, and I was in line looking on my phone for see if I can just buy it online and get out of the line. I'll just get it on the website, But if you buy it online, it doesn't say I was there on the back.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I was like, man, I got to have this. And man, I don't know where he learned that from, but he paid the $30 to the guy and bought his shirt, and then he got our shirts, and all right, thanks a lot. Goodbye.
That's amazing. I had to remember that if I'm ever needing a merch stand item and I'm too far back and I don't want to wait in line.
There was a couple people when he stood in line, with him, there's a couple people that called him out and said, hey man, get out, you're cutting. And they were getting pissed. And then the guy, Roy was his name, I don't know. The guy turned around and said, no, he's with me. This is my buddy Gene. We came together. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Oh yeah. My gosh. That's
so I got to give him props on the shirt thing. That's for sure.
Definitely.
And then we did get our ice cream on the way out, and I kept my ice cream wrapper. It's one of my AEW DVDs over there. I kept it, but I could have sold it for $100 if I wanted to, which is ludicrous.
It is ludicrous, but there's, as P.T. Barnum, I think, said, there's a sucker born every minute. So
every minute,
you could have cashed out on that.
I imagine that now that they're selling them at events, now that market's probably diluted because you don't know what it came from. But at least for a little while, you knew it came from that night. So that was pretty cool.
That's an awesome story. Yeah, I mean, to see him come back, I had a whole CM Punk themed episode podcast because timely. You gotta cash in on the time. But yeah, it's nice to see him back. He looks happy. He looks like he's gonna be, have a lot of good feuds where he's at. And yeah, it's always nice to see people, when they're gone for a while, come back. As we've seen with Undertaker at so many times, when he's gone for like a year and he comes back, it feels so much better.
Yeah, I always identified with Punk a little bit. He was never, Undertaker's in no danger of going anywhere for me, but
no, of course not.
Punk always spoke to me because he was always straight edge, which I don't really drink either. It was never been my thing to drink or do any of that stuff. So I always thought that was super cool. And I loved when he did the heel stuff where I'm straight edge and I'm better than you. Like I loved that stuff. And I loved when he always kind of spoke for the outcasts, I think, and the people that'll take on the authority, and he was the voice of the voiceless, so that always spoke to me. I always really thought that was cool that he was a crusader, and I always really liked that. And I really wanted that yellow shirt in 2011, or that white shirt in 2011. So I'm living my best life right now with the AEW version.
Yeah. They cashed in on having that same design, which is ingenious.
Yes, it is. Yes. As a wrestling fan, and man, I love most wrestling shirts that Undertakers and stuff. I get why Takers are black, but like all wrestling shirts are black, it feels like. Mm-hmm. And even when I go to a Foo Fighters show, black. So I try to buy like the red one or the blue one, or in Punk's case, the white one. It's nice to have something different, Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, it makes you stand out if you're in the crowd.
Right. And then the next night I might have worn my voice out more at Medieval Times than I did for CM Punk, if that's possible.
You tell. How was Schaumburg?
It was awesome. I didn't see anybody. I didn't see any of your relatives that I know of. None of your relatives were there that I'm aware of. I didn't see you there.
I was not there, unfortunately.
But it was pretty cool. We went in there and we got our picture taken. We did the should have got it out for the podcast. We did the at our little Medieval Times picture, we did the Orange Cassidy, like where we were unimpressed with the thumbs ups.
The unimpressed thumbs up.
Yeah, like the uneventful thumb. And the guy he saw all of our AEW shirts, so he knew what we were doing. So the photographer, so he laughed at us. So that was pretty cool. But we were the Black and White Knight was our section.
Oh, nice.
And I was the Red Knight. We were the Red Knight section when I was a kid, and he did not win. And we were the Black and White section this time, and he did not win. So I don't know how they work that. I almost want to know, like, Dark Side of the Ring, Medieval Times. Like, I want to know how they...
Dark Side of the Ring, Medieval Times.
How do they decide who's going over every night? Or is it the same guy, but he puts on different like colors? Or is it just they just pick a different guy to go over every night? But it can't be the same guy every night. The Green Knight does not win every time. There's no way.
No, it can't
Right?
be. No, it can't be.
Right.
I mean, who does he think he is? Stone Cold Steve Austin winning every night?
It was pretty cool though. I could see if you're a little girl and you're there, I could see being interested. They got the queen there and she's looking very regal and pretty on her white horse. And they have all the horse with all the dressage and the horses are like, I don't know, like bowing and prancing. And I could see little girls being into that. And the little boys, typical little boys, I could see them being into the sword fighting and I mean, they're like, the one guy had like the spiky ball on a chain and he's like really hitting the guy with the shield and there's like sparks. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like wrestling. This is choreographed violence,
Yeah. It's just as how I remember it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
That's
really awesome.
awesome.
And I probably used up more of my voice on Saturday night than I even did on Friday night, if that's possible. So I sounded like Joan Rivers for a couple of days. Back at home, like on the phone, at work, I'm just like, hello, how's it going? No, I'm fine. I was at medieval times, We had a good time. It was great.
That's great. That's great. I was looking for your Big Evil sweatshirt all through Rampage. I was saying, is camera gonna pan to him? I was looking for it. Unfortunately, I didn't see you.
I was on. I was definitely on. I'll forward you the picture, but it's definitely a wide crowd shot. I wasn't the crying guy. I didn't get a close up like
the crying guy. Yes, yeah.
They showed the crying guy, but no, I was definitely in there, and that red shirt paid off because I was like, "Ha, there I am, right there."
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. That's an experience. That is an experience.
Right. I could say I've been to WrestleManias, I've been to the Royal Rumble, I've been to Saturday Night's Main Event, I've been to a WCW pay-per-view, World War III. I've been to a real ECW pay-per-view.
A real ECW pay-per-view.
Real ECW pay-per-view. I've been to a bunch of stuff, and now I was there when CM Punk came back after 7 years. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a nice booby price because we couldn't go to All Out because we all had conflicts for All Out. So this was a nice booby price.
That's even more historic.
Well, and now I'm after, if I know they're going to expedite his CM Punk's figure, his Jazzwares figure.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't really need a Punk figure, but if he's wearing the stuff that he was wearing, like the street clothes, just like the shirt and jeans that he was wearing that night, I'm probably gonna have to buy him.
You're gonna have to get like a shadow box for like your memory of that day.
Yeah, if they come out with the figure like that, he's probably gonna be holding the ice cream wrapper in my basement for all eternity, probably.
That is awesome. I hope they make him like how he returned. So it's like a nice little keepsake. If people are like collecting the stuff from that day, it like fits in perfectly for that.
Yeah, the Major Wrestling Figure podcast talks about how Jeremy Padawer, like he seems to always put out the first one is always in street clothes for some reason. That's just something to do.
Yeah, I don't know where they get that from. I'm trying to remember like
how many are there? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even remember the first Undertaker figure he may have worked on. And it may have been in street clothes for all I know.
Right. So they were saying that Punk is going to be in street clothes, and I'm over here like, yes, please.
Yes, please. Well, I so excited to hear about your Chicago stories, that everything went well, that my hometown treated you well and everything like that, that you had a great time at the Rampage and that you saw CM Punk return. So great to hear all around that you did not disappoint with the stories.
Yeah, we've heard rumors that they are taking their next pay-per-view in November, Full Gear, out of St. Louis. Ooh. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a COVID in Missouri thing or if it's the arena's booked thing or what, but I've heard rumors they might be moving it. And I heard rumors that it might be in St. Paul. So we might get a pay-per-view here if they can find a venue that's not booked with like high school girls volleyball tournaments or something. We got a lot of high school tournaments that time of year, so we'll see what happens. But oh yeah.
Wow. Will you go if it's there?
Oh, Of course. If it's right here, like we can go to a pay-per-view and we don't have to drive 8 hours or pay for a hotel. That's more money that you can put in the seats and get a little closer, maybe.
Yeah, or towards the merch stand or anything else you can get for stuff like that.
Right? Yeah, extra money to pay a guy to act
Extra
like
money to pay a guy. Pretend you're my friend for 5 minutes.
right. That's genius, right?
It is genius. Oh, and before we get started on the Buried Alive, which is why we are here afterwards, after all, any luck finding your Hall of Champions Taker or your Adrenaline Taker figure?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
I've got ticklers. I got ticklers.
I know
set.
you got feelers out.
Yep, I got ticklers set on eBay, so I'm just waiting for a deal ski.
Nice.
Or something that's a little lower than normal. I mean, I know Hall of Champions can be $100 sometimes or $80. So if somebody put one up there for a little lower than that, I'd probably pounce on it.
Nice. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Right.
Like I said, I saw that once in like that Case Fresh box. Never saw it again.
Yep. Some people just you gotta wait. It's just like fishing. You just gotta wait it out because some people don't know what they have or they don't care. Some people don't even care. They just post it for $50. I just want to get rid of it. So
yeah, that's true.
Just like fishing, you just gotta wait it out.
Yeah, cast your lines.
Yep. There's some ticklers I've had for 5 years and then they finally pay off, you know?
Yeah. I can attest to that. You just wait it out.
Right. Absolutely.
Just wait it out. But one thing we will not be waiting it out is for the Buried Alive match on SmackDown. The 3rd episode in SmackDown's history gives us a pay-per-view quality match as the Undertaker and the Big Show, the Unholy Alliance, hopes to recapture their tag team championship gold from the Rock and Sock Connection in Undertaker's specialty, his Buried Alive match. And I am queued up at 1 hour, 8 minutes and 19 seconds. And you are queued up at the same exact time.
Yes.
So we are just rolling along here. And
some of the things I kind of watched that episode and just talking about taking a snapshot of September 99 in the Fed. Some of the other storylines I took notes on what was going on.
Okay.
Right now is the Al Snow Big Boss Man Pepper story where Boss Man fed the dog to Al Snow and made him crazy.
Oh my God, yes.
So they are cruising for the Kennel from Hell match, which is going to be at Unforgiven coming up. So that's that's coming up. And then the British Bulldog returned, as I mentioned. So he returns for the first time since the screw job, and now he's the Blue Jeans Bulldog. He's not wearing like the Union Jack tights anymore. And that's important, Bulldog coming back, because he's the guy that's going to substitute for the Undertaker at the 6-pack challenge at Unforgiven.
Yeah.
If he wasn't hurt. So I also noticed, as you probably did in this episode, a baby face, and I really mean legitimately baby face Stephanie McMahon. She's probably like 22. Yeah. Her and Tess set a wedding date that, as we know, will never happen.
Yeah,
and
I just finished that thing as I was queuing up here and getting everything ready. I was watching the Stephanie Tess segment. Oh my God. Right.
Dudley's debuted a week before to feud with the Acolytes, and Vince is going to win the title next week after this. And germane to this episode, the Rock and Sock Connection, they just formed on August 30th. So 2 weeks before this was The Rock on Raw was supposed to face Big Show and Undertaker alone. And that was going to be like a big punishment. He wasn't going to make it out alive, probably. So his longtime rival, Mankind, said, I can't let you do that. Let me join forces with you to take them on. And that started their little team. And that was only on August 30th. And this is September 9th. So this isn't too long longer. And they're already tag champs.
Right. Right. And funny you should say that about the Bulldog replacing the Undertaker. I was gonna, just little things coming up here. And we were also talking about pay-per-view quality matches on SmackDown. I think it's about a week later or 2 weeks later, they're going to have a 5-man Royal Rumble match. And I think that was to determine who would like enter the 6-pack challenge last or something like that. And you have like Big Show, Undertaker, Rock, Mankind, and Kane all competing in a Royal Rumble match. And the reason why I have this Undertaker here, joining me here, the Raw Heat SmackDown edition, is because this is a transition period between Ministry into the Badass. And we get this exact look of the Undertaker in that Royal Rumble match, where he literally comes out on stage, goes right to the announcing desk, announces the Royal Rumble match with Michael Cole and King, before getting into the ring at the last second, dumping out the Big Show and Rock and winning the match.
That's great.
Yeah. So another great piece of Undertaker SmackDown history is just like 1 or 2 weeks away, and it's just like classic stuff. Just it's just memories you don't forget, and that's just great.
Makes you wonder when they decided he's going to be out for a long time, because as of 2 weeks from here, so even September 23rd, they're still letting him win this Rumble and come in last in theory. Like, at what point are they thinking, okay, he just needs to rest up for a couple weeks, we'll keep him off on the sidelines, but on TV still. And at some point they must get the news, like, he's going to need to be gone for a while. I don't know when that happens exactly, though.
I think it must happen on that. I think the SmackDown afterwards, when McMahon puts Triple H in that gauntlet of matches, and he's supposed to fight Undertaker in the casket. But then Undertaker, after he beats up X-Pac and everything, he says, okay, our job's done, let's go. And then he just walks out on Vince.
Right.
I guess they must have known that week, saying, he needs surgery, and, what else can you do?
Boy, Bruce Pritchard always talks about, like, hey, stuff happens. People get hurt. People miss flights. I mean, it's few and far between, but sometimes we got to, card subject to change. And he always says, when you do that, though, you always try to give the audience similar or better if possible. And Undertaker's hard to top, but they replaced the Undertaker with the Bulldog.
Yeah. Yeah, not the best choice of replacement.
No, that puts the Bulldog in a real bad spot too. Bulldog's a great wrestler, but the Undertaker's hard to live up to, man.
Yeah, because they don't even replace him with Austin.
Right.
Austin's the guest referee, I think, in that 6-pack challenge.
Yeah, he's not in the match. Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird to me. That's another thing, like, odd.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't ready to go for all we know.
Well, he gets run over in about a month and a half, so.
Right.
Yeah, at least Undertaker had a graceful exit here. He just walks out of Vince, at least he didn't have to get hit by a truck or something.
Yeah, he didn't get hit by a car.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, enough with the backstory and the future. Yeah. We're here for the Buried Alive match, and on the count of 3, we shall hit play and get started. Are you ready?
I am always ready.
Just like Matt Cardona, who is always ready. Let us get started with 3, 2, 1, play. I always love this theme song mashup from Undertaker and Big Show.
Yeah, it's not too bad. There's some of the mashups that they did that was really out of place. Yeah. But this isn't too bad at all, actually.
Yeah.
Cole keeps talking about 2 tons of dirt, 2 tons of dirt. That's 2 tons of dirt. And I mean, I don't know what tons of dirt looks like, but that little mound above the grass doesn't look like 2 tons to me, but we'll go with it, I guess.
And 2 tons never get shoveled on somebody unless you're the Undertaker getting the backhoe shoved on you.
Yeah.
It's hardly ever used.
I noticed here they announced their combined weight at 828 pounds. And for a minute, I was like, where do they get that number? But if you think about it, Big Show's build weight was 500 pounds back then. Taker's was 328 at the time. That's 828. That's a nice little touch. That's a nice little touch.
Yeah. Undertaker in his Hall of Champions gear, as we were just talking about, his red outline TX.
Yep.
which is probably my favorite ministry attire. I love the red outline.
You see Taker's hair there. He's got the wet hair looking, but you could tell it's red. It's not really black. Like he's making that transition.
Yeah, especially in the roots at the top, you can tell.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about earlier too, I think before we hit record, but it's interesting with this episode. At the beginning of the episode, they had China and Triple H were ambushing Kane in the parking lot. And then Undertaker and Big Show come and chase them away. He doesn't hit Triple H or China, and he doesn't help Kane up, but they chase them away. And they kind of save Kane, which I found to be interesting. And then later in the episode, Kane has a title match with Triple H and loses when they cheat with the sledgehammer again. And they're about ready to attack him with the sledgehammer. And here comes Kane and the Big Show. I'm sorry, Undertaker and Big Show to save Kane again, which is interesting.
It is. I think this is around the time like Undertaker's trying to sway Kane away from X-Pac, bring him back to the dark side and everything like that. Sure. So, trying to show like X-Pac doesn't care about you. I care about you. I'm your brother and everything. It's good stuff.
Right. Yeah. Or maybe one of those things where like, I can mess with my brother, but you can't mess with my brother,
Yeah. Yeah.
Only I.
Like we were talking about, I think it was last time, I really wonder where they would have taken it if he didn't get injured. Like where would the character transition, how it would have taken place and everything like that. It's always fun to think about things like that.
Absolutely. Rock getting one of his classic late entrances to a tag match, multi-man match. He always shows up late for that big pop. And like we were talking about, the Rock and Sock connection is so new. They're not even called the Rock and Sock connection. They're still Mankind and the Rock. Yeah.
Undertaker and Rock trading blows at the entrance ramp. Undertaker's not even waiting till Rock gets into the ring.
Right.
Rock has red outlining on his trunks too. It's a red kind of day here in the WWF.
They must have coordinated, yeah.
Yeah. If only Mankind would have had like red sweatpants.
Right. Well, he's wearing a reddish tie, so maybe that was his.
Just like you today, wearing your red Undertaker tie.
I needed to see Mick Foley off because by the time we come back to the thing, he'll be retired. He'll be commissioner.
And Undertaker and Rock, once rivals, will become tag team champions next time we join forces.
You gotta love the world of wrestling, I think. And I saw Rock and Undertaker fight live at No Way Out 02 in Milwaukee. So they on again, off again, on again.
That's best of friends. If we're not fighting, we're together.
Right. Oh, he's gonna hit that people's elbow unless somebody were to come and spoil it for the people.
Spoil it for the people. Like Undertaker just did.
Oh, yes. Spoiling, the crowd booing. They want that people's elbow and they're not going to get it. At least not right now.
Rock can always sell a right hand so well.
Of course. And they show like 15-year-old Michael Cole in jeans.
15-year-old Michael Cole.
Do you remember one of my Michael Cole memories from '99 is at WrestleMania 15, I swear, and everybody tells me I'm high. I swear they had a segment where he said, and join us after the match, after Austin and The Rock main event. Join us after the match. We'll have an interview with the new champion. And my friends and I just looked at each other like, did he just say new champion? Like we all were pretty sure that Austin was going to beat The Rock, but like to confirm it on TV, we were pretty sure that happened. But everybody I talked to about it says they have no recollection of it.
I have not seen WrestleMania 15 in its entirety for a long time. I usually just watch the Undertaker match.
Sure.
But I have to go back and watch that. Now I'm thinking about that.
I'm sure they cut it out of Peacock or something. So you got to have it on like DVD or VHS.
Oh my God.
But I've searched the internet and I'm like, is this just the Mandela effect? Am I remembering something that isn't really true? Like, I swear to God this happened, but nobody knows what I'm talking about. If anybody out there, knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, please send us proof.
So, yeah, save my sanity.
Yes. All three people minus Undertaker are now by the gravesite. Big Show just got a low blow with the shovel.
And earlier in the parking lot, China gave him a low blow at the beginning of the show. So
it is not a good day to be the Big Show.
Right. I'm surprised Big Show actually fits in that grave. I like lengthwise. I didn't know if he would fit in there, but if he does.
Yeah. Here comes Undertaker now, going against Mankind, staving the Big Show, or at least half of the Big Show. Rock is still shoveling.
Rock don't even care about his friend. He's just going to keep shoveling.
Yeah. It's all about the tag titles for the Rock.
Undertaker Mankind pairing off here. Man, their feud, started after WrestleMania 12, the night after. King of the Ring 96, Boiler Room Brawl, Hell in a Cell 98. They were just fighting for the tag belts with Kane. Now with The Rock, like Mankind and Undertaker are constant.
Always at each other.
Yeah.
Undertaker blinding The Rock there with the dirt. Classic tactic in these buried alive matches. I mean, if you don't use the dirt to blind your opponent, what are you really doing?
Right. Just pick him up and slam him, Undertaker. What are you doing?
He's just bringing in the moment. You got to taunt. You got to trash talk. Got to have Rock get that momentum back.
I believe Lawler says Rock's got one foot in the grave and one on a banana peel, which is classic Jerry Lawler.
Oh, classic Jerry Lawler. And that slide down the grave probably didn't help the Undertaker's pulled groin at the time.
Sure.
But,
interesting perspective behind the little oval, the oval Titantron back then in SmackDown. I've never seen.
I love the oval Titantron. So, here comes that classic moment.
And Mick Foley. Mick Foley was the one who called this spot. Like,
here it goes.
Like a basketball.
Like a young Babe Ruth.
oh my God, he missed. He came up short, and then you can hear a thud if you had the sound on.
Oh my God.
Nest T plunge.
I shouldn't laugh, but that is still hilarious to watch. Mankind getting tossed right into the gravesite.
Oh my gosh. From the stage, that's crazy. And like I said, I know Mick Foley was the one who was like, you know what you ought to do? Throw me into the hole from the stage.
Throw me into the hole. He probably asked Undertaker to do it. Undertaker said, no, I threw you off one thing before. I'm not throwing you off another thing.
We're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Sacco.
Big Show, you do it. A stinking sock.
Stinking sock with dirt on it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Show's going to go in the hole here for the second time. They don't really do a lot of close-ups once you're in the hole. I noticed that. They don't do a lot of close-ups tonight. They don't want to give the secret away. I would love to know how the Buried Alive match works.
If I had a guess, I'm guessing there's some kind of opening on the side.
There's got to be, right? Bruce Pritchard won't say. He won't ever give it away on the show.
Well, especially now, say he's hired back.
Sure, right? In theory, this is a good strategy, though. If you can knock the Big Show out, then you've got all day to bury him. I didn't realize Show didn't take his earring off to wrestle.
and Rock and Undertaker are somewhere backstage, I presume, fighting at each other.
When they're doing this live, I wonder if they're just ad-libbing or are they just kind of chilling out until the red light comes on and then they get going again backstage. I don't know.
I'm guessing they're just chilling. They're not going to keep fighting each other. Nobody's watching them. Right. Undertaker probably has to rest his legs and groin anyway.
Groin, hip, yeah. This slow shoveling. It's almost be easier to sit behind. There you go. It would almost be easier to get to behind the mountain and just push the dirt in with the stupid shovel.
Oh, here comes Triple H.
Here comes Triple H.
Undertaker. Oh, he hits Rock and he wipes out the Undertaker. Screw it. Here's Triple H's problem now.
No, notice Triple H has attacked Kane. Triple H has attacked The Rock.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's just helping out. He's just helping out his former corporate ministry partner.
Yeah, he's never touched the Undertaker. We were talking about where they going with things, you know?
China now.
Oh, that's not going to do nothing to him. No sell.
And China's just looking out for the Undertaker too, helping out the old corporate ministry leader.
Yeah.
You know. Here comes a nice pounce.
Yeah, especially for a guy with a bad groin.
Yeah, and a bad hip and a bad knee. He's moving better than the Big Show is.
He just yells for the Big Show to wake up and get out of the hole, and he does. Oh, with the shovel.
This is only is this the third Buried Alive? I think it is.
I think so. I think you're right.
Right now, Undertaker's 1-1.
Right.
A win against Mankind and a loss against Austin.
Yep. Mankind in the hole here, and he will not die. I mean,
no, he will not. He keeps getting up. He's a glutton for punishment. Oh, Big Show just falls on him in the.
Big Show. I listened to the commentary. Big Show just smothers his face in the dirt until he passes out. I was like, what the hell is the Big Show doing right now? And he apparently smothers him in the dirt till he passes out. Okay.
Well, it wouldn't take that quick to pass out, but okay,
right,
Big Show.
Right. We're going with it.
Yeah, going with it. We're losing TV time.
Undertaker going to.
Oh, his Rock.
There you go. Just keep him busy so Show can keep shoveling. That's all.
It's such a good dynamic between Undertaker and Rock. They gelled so well together.
Oh, here comes Triple H. Now he's going to attack Big Show. He's attacked Rock, Kane.
Big Show's going too slow. He's got to finish this off.
Big Show done for the night, just like that.
And now Triple H is aiding the Undertaker in burying Mankind.
The only guy he didn't attack all night, and then he's going to help them win the tag belts for some reason.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, do they have something planned in the future here, maybe? It's like, even Undertaker in that gauntlet match, as we talked about earlier, he refused to face Triple H.
Maybe they were going to be the two-man power trip. Who knows?
You never know. He refused to face Triple H in that gauntlet. He said, he was not here to do that. So it gives you the impression like maybe they were going to form something together.
Right. Maybe they're in cahoots. Because Undertaker did chase Triple H off of Kane a couple times tonight, but he never hit him. He just chased him off.
That's right.
Big Show is legitimately dead.
Yeah. And Undertaker wins the match, not even having to bury Mankind or The Rock. It's a good day for the Undertaker.
Right? Always makes me wonder how they clean this thing up after the show ends, everybody leaves. How do they clean all this crap up?
And also how they get it there.
Right.
It must detach into pieces.
And it's buried by dirt, whatever it is, I don't understand.
Which is why I'm guessing there's some kind of opening in there because it's just part of a piece. Oh, an ambulance, that's never good. Usually somebody's inside.
Right. And throughout the night tonight, they kept talking about where is Stone Cold. They slid that in there a couple times. So you just knew this was bad news.
Triple H pointing to the Big Show.
Like if they're here for Big Show, don't open the door yourself.
Yeah, don't just take some. Triple H.
It's the return of Austin for the first time since SummerSlam.
Amazing, right? I didn't even notice that.
Now he's been gone a couple weeks. I don't know if
He returns on a SmackDown.
That's true. They're trying to get that show over.
Did he just step on Mankind?
Jumps in the hole, jumps out of the hole. Sorry, Mankind. I think these guys are gonna. I don't know if they fight at Unforgiven. I know they fight at No Mercy, and then you're right. By Survivor Series, Austin's hit by a car, and Triple H is off with Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Into the ambulance. He's gonna pull a Hulk Hogan here. Hulk Hogan before WrestleMania 18. Remember he had Rock, the NWO had Rock in the ambulance, and then they plowed him with the semi truck.
Yeah. Austin loves vehicles.
Yes, I was famously there. I'm contractually obligated to remind everybody I was there for the Zamboni Raw in Detroit.
Which is an amazing Raw. That's when Undertaker and Kane attacked Vince.
Yes.
That is an amazing Raw.
I was so bummed because they had the belt out in the velvet like container, and they were going to present it to whoever they thought beat Austin the night before. And I was like, oh man, they're going to give it to the Undertaker, and I'm going to be there live. And then they did not do that, and I was disappointed.
Yeah, that's a disappointing.
Yep, into the semi, just like Hulk Hogan.
As the camera conveniently pans away from the ambulance so Triple H can get out of it.
Yep. It's interesting because it's stuff because it's the third episode of SmackDown. We got to get this show over, or is this just 1999? Like this show is just shot out of a cannon. Like all the stuff that they did in one night. My God.
Ruined a perfectly good ambulance and dumpster.
Like they did this semi spot. They had a buried alive match. Kane almost tried to light Triple H and China on fire with gas in the parking lot earlier tonight. They had a shark cage with Chris Jericho. I mean, my God, they did a lot of stuff in one night.
It's just 1999 craziness, I tell you.
Yeah, so good.
So good. Such a time to be alive.
Triple H is in theory dead, but I'm sure he'll be on TV on Monday.
Yeah.
And this puts an end to the Rock and Sock Connection's first ever reign as tag team champions. After 8 days,
Yeah.
they lose the belts, and Undertaker and Big Show are champions again. This time, Undertaker and Big Show are going to be champions for 13 days.
Woo.
Yeah. So first reign was 8 days, second reign was 13 days, and then they're going to lose them back to Rock and Sock on Raw, as we talked about in a dark Dark Side Rules match where
Yes, Dark Side Rules, where anybody can face each other.
any member of the ministry can defend the tag belt. So essentially it's Rock and Sock versus Big Show, Viscera, and Mideon, with Undertaker on commentary because he quote doesn't want to wrestle in the match. As we know, he's hurt. He can't wrestle in the match, but he's passing it off as I don't care. So obviously, so he loses the belts and he's not even part of the decision. It's tough.
It is. But that is not the end of the Undertaker's tag team title victories. He will have success again with an odd tag team partner. He joins forces with The Rock on an episode of Monday Night Raw, December 2000. I don't know the exact date right now, but December
18th.
December 18th. Wow, an early Christmas present for The Undertaker and The Rock. They join forces to win the tag team championships and hold it for a whopping 4 days.
Yes.
Before losing it on SmackDown to, I believe, Edge and Christian.
I think so. Yep.
But it is in the history books. It is in the record books that Undertaker and Rock are tag team champions. And that is our next stop on the Undertaker Tag Team Championship victory train before he finds his groove with Kane, and just fun stuff ahead.
I can't wait to watch that episode of Raw and kind of get an idea of what's going on.
A snapshot of 2000 WWF.
Because I kind of don't remember exactly why they teamed up. I'm sure they thought Mankind and The Rock being champions was kind of the same thing. Like, yeah, we'll just put them together. We'll get in and we'll get out of it. But then it was such a hit, they stayed with it for a while.
Well, I know that Undertaker saved Rock at Judgment Day. He saved him again the night after from an attack.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the following week, they tried to put them together in a lumberjack match where they had all the McMahon Helmsley lumberjacks. And instead of fighting each other, they fought the lumberjacks. So it's almost like, like 6 months later, put them in a tag match, have them win the tag belts. And I think like a week or so later is Armageddon, the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I remember. I think they might have taped Raw back then, or maybe they taped that Raw because it was Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember reading that I read the results. I read the spoilers at college, and then I flew home for Christmas break. And then I remember getting to watch it live, knowing that he was going to win the tag belts, on Raw at home, which was really, really cool. We're halfway through now. So we've seen 3 and we got 3 to go, right?
Yes, he is a six-time tag champion.
Yeah.
And also he's the one-time WCW tag champion, which he wins at SummerSlam 01, which we'll watch. That's going to be a fun one too.
We should cover that one too, I assume.
Yeah, definitely. I like going through like specific moments of careers like this and seeing his different championship victories. It's fun because you get to see like matches like this, the Buried Alive match that, most people probably just glance over when they rewatch moments of Undertaker's career. He wins a championship on SmackDown in a Buried Alive match with the Big Show.
Yeah, I always cherish those because Undertaker, he won a lot of belts, but he was not like Ric Flair or Cena or Austin. I mean, he didn't get all those championship 15, 16 championship reigns. So anytime he won a tag belt or like the hardcore belt, it was like, all right, finally, we're getting some. We got a Royal Rumble, finally.
Yes. I remember when he won that Rumble. I remember watching that. He finally won it. They was so proud. So proud.
Just to know that the office would let him get one, because I thought he's already a made man. They're not going to give it to him. They're going to give it to somebody on their way up. He's never going to get a Rumble. So it's kind of nice that they stopped and gave him one.
I'm so glad they gave him one because he would have been basically the only main eventer then that didn't have one.
Right.
Because Austin has 3, Rock has 1, Triple H has 2, all like the top guys have a Royal Rumble. He had to win one. I was like, this year is his year, and finally it paid off. Finally.
Yeah. And I remember that year I said it before, going through the roster and who was getting announced for the Rumble. And I'm like, man, other than like Shawn Michaels and maybe Team RKO, like there's nobody on here that's going to have a chance at realistically winning. MVP isn't going to win. Mr. Kennedy's not going to win. Like it's a rated RKO and it's Shawn Michaels and it's the Undertaker and that's it.
Oh, and that's the final 4.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the final 4.
And that, as you know, that final 2 with Shawn, that was the impetus for the matches that we eventually got at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we got that snapshot of the WrestleManias at the end of the Rumble.
Yep, that's true.
Well, after we're done with the tag matches, we should do his hardcore title. You mentioned the hardcore championship. We have to do Rob Van Dam at Vengeance.
I have the Vengeance. I remember watching that at my buddy's house in college, and I remember saying when he won the tag team title, well, not even when he won the hardcore title, not even when he won the match, but when they were chanting, they're fighting by the entryway, him and RVD, and they're chanting RVD, 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 and
I know.
Undertaker turns around and yells at the crowd. He's just like, RVD's getting his ass whipped. And I was like, I told my friends, I'm like, I'm buying the DVD. I don't even care. I'm buying the DVD. That was a great moment. And then he won the belt. And so that DVD's still over there right now. That Vengeance 01 DVD.
I love it. Oh, he's so quick. Him and that what chant? Say
Yes.
what? Say what if you sleep with your sister?
Right?
Oh my God. Oh my
So
God.
good.
It's
Well,
so good.
We always try to compare the matches to toys, or you do on your podcast.
Yes.
And so I took these notes.
Oh, look at you. You're so much more prepared than the host himself.
I took these notes before I listened to your last episode from last Friday.
Yeah.
And so I had them all ironed out, and I'm like, I got this figure that's kind of under the radar. I think I'm going to surprise him a little bit. It's going to be good. It was made in '99.
Okay.
And so then I listened to your Friday episode, probably on Wednesday or so. I listened to it during the day, and you're like, yeah, Back Talkin Crushers. And I'm like, son of a gun. Because I was going to bring it up because the toys we talked about, the tag, the Hall of Champions figure at SummerSlam '99, and it's only been 2 weeks since the last one.
It's only been 2 weeks in WWF time.
Right. So the figures haven't really changed, but I looked up some of the 1999 Undertaker figures, and one of the ones that I thought was interesting, and I agree with you that you buried it alive on Friday. But it's just like a talking figure. And I thought it was interesting and funny because I hope they say more than one thing, because
they do.
On the box, you see on the back, it says, The Rock says, like, he says his catchphrase, and then, Austin says like his catchphrase, and that's the bottom line. And so everybody says their catchphrase, and Undertaker's little air bubble says, you smashed my arm. And I'm like, you smashed my arm? Out of all the things you could have put on there, you smashed my arm? I'm like, I hope it says more than one thing on there. So I've got a tickler out for that figure just to see if I can get one in the package, and then maybe it'll still work if you replace the batteries. Like you said, I don't know if that'll happen, but I was going to bring up that figure, but then you beat me to it.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, he makes grunts. I think they make grunt noises like, oh, stuff like that. Yeah, you smash my arm, and like I think it's like you're crushing the Lord of Darkness or something like that. But It's all like the same body molds, and it's like so like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is you have the Big Show and the Undertaker in that series. Tag team champions here, as we just talked about.
There you go. Well, that led me to thinking about, too, closely related to that. Do you have, or have you seen they came out in 2000, but the Signature Jams figures? Because Taker had 3 of them as the Biker Taker in 2000. Yeah. And I don't think the figure speaks, but it comes with like a little JVC kaboom box that you hit the button on that. Do you know, does that play? I mean, how does licensing go? Does that play Limp Bizkit or Kid Rock?
It plays Rollin.
Does it really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I assume it's like 30-second snippet or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very small.
Wow. Because I saw that I was using that wrestling figure database, and I saw those too. I'm like, that's closely related to the Back Talkin Crushers. It plays his music, but I wonder what music,
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know because I have 3 of them, and I think 2 of them work, and I think the last 2 play Rollin. The first one may play Kid Rock. It depends when it was released. I don't know, because I think one of them, my batteries are dead on it, but of course I don't open it up.
Right.
So the first one may play Kid Rock. I don't know.
It's interesting. Sometimes when Taker had those real songs, he'd get his toys, or the video game would just be like random generic butt rock because they couldn't pay for Kid Rock.
Yeah, right. Right. But that is interesting. I'm guessing all three may play Rollin because it seems like they have the rights to that more than Kid Rock.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm guessing all three may play Rollin, but it doesn't play like the Dead Man theme or anything. It does play his badass theme.
Right. Yeah, which makes sense because
Yeah.
this is 2000. So
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
How many? How you gotta tell me how many ultimates did you end up ordering? Did you just get one?
No, I got six.
You got six.
I got
What?
six. uh Increase my chances of getting a good one.
Right. I know that the box has to be pristine,
Especially these, as I never had an ultimate because they didn't make him yet.
Yeah.
But as I've seen them in Target and I heard on the Wrestling Figure podcast, it's like they have all these different corners and the tape is sometimes like screwed up and like the different corners may be like ripped or stuff. And I'm like, oh crap.
Right.
So I'm like, let me get six. I got them in those protector cases.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, maybe they'll take, they'll put them nicely. They won't get shoved around. So, okay. And I may keep like two in like in my bins for now and just like keep the rest, for investments because they seem to be like going high and high and high.
Just say you could always resell it and probably get your money back at some point.
And that's definitely a figure, I probably open one up for display.
Yeah, well, some people do that when you get the multiple heads like that. They buy 4 figures so you can display all 4 heads. I mean, depending.
Yeah. If I was a loose collector, I would do that too.
I got one. I only got one, but I think I'm going to do a lot of people were kind of talking about the heads not looking like 1998 Undertaker, except for the one that's actually on the body, the one with the hair that's down in front because of the cape,
Yeah. The only one I don't think looks like is one with the tongue.
Yeah.
Because he does the tongue in 99.
Sure.
Ministry. So
yes.
It's like, they could have done like just regular eyes rolled back. So I was like, all the heads, I'm like, I don't like that one.
I'll have to see it when it's in front of me, but I think I'm gonna go with the head that they just had on there, which is the one with the hair in front.
Yeah, because the other heads won't work with the cloak, and the cloak is everything here.
Yeah, that cloak is staying on. That's what makes that figure to me. That's what makes it different than anything else I have in the detail. So that's gotta be the one. And I'll just take the other heads and put them in a little baggie, I guess.
Yeah, or you can display them next to him, or you can hold them. Like that pay-per-view poster where he's holding his head.
Bad Blood, yeah.
Yeah, you can have him recreate that poster.
There you go. I didn't even think of that. It's not a bad idea. Did you order a cane?
I did not order a cane, and I'm like, oh, should I order a cane?
Part of me wanted to, because it's so closely related, but he's not technically my guy.
Yeah. I was like,
and that cape idea, that's a deep cut because he only wore that for like one day. That's a deep cut, so that's kind of cool. But man, it's not my guy.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I'm like, eventually when I have my collection set up, do I really want a cane in there? Because then I have to get like if I get Kane, then it's like, well, why don't you have Triple H? Why don't you have Shawn Michaels? And it's like, okay, and no.
Where do you draw the line, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, looking around, I don't think wrestling figure wise, I don't think I have anything outside of the Undertaker. I don't think I have any other wrestling figures. So if I do get that CM Punk, that'll be a first. It's just not something I do.
Speaking of CM Punk, I was actually thinking of when the prices come down to hopefully get that WrestleMania Punk because it has like Undertaker gear. So I was like, well, I guess I can pass that off as like an Undertaker themed figure. So I was like, maybe.
But it'll probably be a while because everything Punk right now is so hot. So I'm still looking for
I literally heard that there was like no figures on eBay. People were just buying them up.
Wow.
I'm like, what the hell?
I'm still looking for my 2011 white shirt, but I know it's gonna be a while for sure. Because not only do you got to find a medium in decent quality, but people are gonna be asking for like $300 right now. So it's gonna be a while. I gotta wait for it to calm down.
Yeah.
But in the meantime,
no
I've
2XL, no 2XL for you.
no, not anymore. Which I might have had to, right? If I was in line and I got to the front, they might have said, well, all we got left is 2XL, and I might have had to buy it.
Yeah, you have bad flashbacks. Oh, 2XL.
Right. Even this, I think, is at least an XL. I'll have to look it up, but even this is an XL. So I don't even, that was what, 2001 when I bought this, 2000. Undertaker work shirt. You got to look it up.
I do. I didn't even know that existed. I didn't even know they made that.
Yeah.
See, again, so much merch, like from merch stands and those ShopZone catalogs. I'm like, there's so much stuff.
I mean, Taker wore it. I mean, it was part of his gear for sometimes he would wear that in jeans. He'd cut the sleeves off, but geez, that was probably about the time of the t-shirt, late 2000, early 2001. He wore the work shirt a bunch. That's where I was like, man, I'll order that shirt. Yeah, cool. Keep in mind, I don't have nearly like the pipes that the Undertaker has. Not even close. Like, what was I thinking? I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
I did listen on your last episode on Friday too. I had no idea that there was a blue box Bone Crunching Buddies.
Yes.
I had no idea. Is he any different? Is the actual figure any different from the other one with tattoos? I can't tell online. He doesn't look different.
I don't think so. Think so. But
it's for the box, huh?
Yeah. Of course. And I've never seen one pop up. And Kane and I-10, guy that collects Kane,
yeah,
he said that it's so weird. Kane's in that series, and it took him a while to find Kane. And it's just like basically like except Kane, it's like all re-releases in that set.
Okay.
They re-released Austin, Undertaker, I think Rock, and Triple H. So it's like Kane's the only new figure in that set, but it's like all re-releases. And I'm like, oh, they had to re-release the Undertaker, really?
Right.
Oh, great.
Because I bought, over the winter, I bought the red and the purple with the LJN looking figure. They had that series that looks like an LJN figure. I have to look it up on my eBay history. I think I got a good deal. I think I got all three of them for like $80 or $100. I thought that that was a
great deal.
Yeah, it was a pretty darn good deal, and they were all still in the box. Like I had to cut them out of the box. They were still in there, but I don't know that I could fit a third one on top of my Detolf. So I'm glad I didn't know that existed.
Well, if I ever get it and they're the same, you can put your worries at rest. You don't have to get it then.
Yes, I love that first one because his face skin is like gray and his body peach, which is amazing. I love that.
Yeah, I like the purple is more, you can see the purple more in his face and everything, so it's like more ghoulish, right. And the second one is more like a more human Undertaker. I like the tattoos on the second one.
Yeah,
if only the first one would have had the tattoos, it would have been perfect. The first one would have been perfect.
The first head and then with the tattoo. Yep, that's funny.
See, you learn something new when you listen to my podcast.
It's true. I didn't know that there was a third one. I always just assumed there was the two. So when the guy sold me over the winter, he sold me the two with the LJN thing. I'm like, cool. I'm done with the buddies. I got both of them. I didn't know there was a third one, but yeah, if they're the same, I might not need it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know where he would go. I'd have to buy another Detolf or something. So.
Well, it just takes convincing your wife, just another Detolf down there. It's nothing more.
The key is to get it and then act like you've had it forever. Like this has been here. This has been here.
It's been there. I just put it up. It's just been here.
Right.
Awesome.
So with this, you talked about the Netflix movie coming out with the New Day. I've never had I don't know what interactive Netflix is. Like, have you had a movie that's interactive? Like my guess is, and I don't know this, it's got to be like choose your own adventure with the remote, right? I mean, what else could it be?
I'm guessing. And I'm guessing it's something, since they already have the pictures and everything, I'm guessing they probably have multiple endings.
Sure.
So I don't know if anybody listening has ever watched the movie Clue from
Yeah.
1985, and they had those like 3 endings at the end. And
Right.
I was a while ago, I realized that if you went to a theater and saw that movie in the theater, you wouldn't get all 3 endings. You would just get one.
Yep.
So
That's right.
someone who would have saw that in 2 different theaters may have saw like the Miss Peacock ending, the Scarlet ending, or the all of them ending. So I'm guessing it may be something like this. Like though you can you can show a different ending, like, but somebody else can show a different ending. That's what
Right.
I'm guessing. So if you choose to like have Undertaker like trap them, I'm guessing you would see like a different ending that someone wants the New Day to escape or something.
Right. There's got to be
There's gotta
uh,
be.
a couple 3 areas where they ask you, do you want to go left or right, basically, and then
It's
you
gonna
got
be
to select.
fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be talking all about it.
Right, because then it creates rewatchability, because then you've got to try to watch all the possible combinations that you could possibly do. Oh, I went left last time, let's go right this time, or whatever. That'll be interesting. And by the way, Clue, yes, that's definitely a horror movie, so I am all over that. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies ever. I love it.
I watched this week. I did Escape Room, so that was my franchise of the week, which is
Ooh.
that just came out in 2019. Escape Room, and then this past summer was Escape Room 2, Tournament of Champions. And I thought it was interesting with part 2. It was a lot like Clue, where it's funny, the version you got in theaters went one way, but the version that you get on the DVD, Blu-ray, the extended version, the director's cut or whatever.
Yeah.
It not only gives you more scenes, because you get a lot of DVDs or Blu-rays that gives you extra scenes and you're like, oh, that's cool. This actual version like takes out the ending from the theater and throws it away completely, and then gives you the extra scenes, and it completely changes the story 100%.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. So it was a lot like Clue, that you could in theory get 2 different endings, completely different endings to this movie, based on if you saw it in theater or if you watch the extended version on the Blu-ray.
That is interesting. That's
That is,
interesting for a movie. I've never
yeah.
seen something like that where they completely throws away what you've seen already.
Yeah, so if you went
Wow.
and saw it in the theater, I mean, I'm sure you can still watch that version on the Blu-ray too, but you went and saw it in the theater and you're like, cool, yeah, I know everything that happens. I know who the killer is and all this stuff. And then you watch the extended version, you're like, wait, what happened to the other killer? Why are they not in this movie?
What happened to the other killer?
Right. Why is it this person instead? What happened to that person? They're not even in here. So it's kind of cool that they wipe it out like that, and it still makes sense. It really does. It was neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very Clue-like. Very
It is
Clue-like.
very Clue. Like, look at this. We're just diverting all around here, talking about Clue.
Always, yeah.
This what makes these. This what makes these fun.
It's Halloween season, so that's my jam.
I love spooky season.
Yeah, and it's almost, not being a kid anymore, like Halloween doesn't mean as much to me because I can't trick or treat, obviously, or do much. So Halloween season.
Who says you can't? Go for it. Live your dream.
But Halloween season is everything, because that's where all the special foods come out, and the movies are all low-hanging fruit because everybody's doing horror. I do horror all year round, but Halloween season, it's low-hanging fruit because cable's playing it and they're putting it out on the streaming services. So I could just like, oh, yep, over here. Thank you, thank you. So it's kind of nice to be able to do that. So I'm waiting for the schedules to come out for, AMC has their 30 days of Halloween.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Freeform has theirs, and Disney Channel has theirs, and Turner Classic Movies has theirs. And
Turner Classic Movies.
so I just grabbed the remote and I'm just like, yep, record. Yep,
record.
Yep, record. Thank you. Yep. But every year it gets a little tougher, because as I see more and more movies, it's harder and harder to like show me something that I haven't seen before.
Yeah. And then if you really like a movie, it's like, oh, do we want to watch it again?
Right. Because you could rewatch it like, oh man, I really love that movie, I want to rewatch that movie. Or that's time that you could be spending watching a movie that you've never seen before.
Yeah. There's always
But
that.
last week I officially opened it up. So Halloween decorations are up outside and inside. So my wife, she demands 6 weeks for Christmas decorations. So, Thanksgiving weekend through like New Year's. And so then I demand equal representation. So Halloween decorations will go up right after Labor Day. Yes.
No decoration without representation.
That's right. Equal. So there's two Christmas totes in the closet under the stairs, and there's 2 Halloween totes under the stairs. So they're equal.
There you go.
Yes.
You have 2 of everything. You need a second Detolf.
Right. Well, that's the beautiful thing is the Undertaker fits right in with the Halloween decorations. You don't have to move him.
Yes,
He's great. Fits right in.
He fits right in. I have to, next time we are here for the Rock and Undertaker tag team, I will find out what the Signature Jams boombox plays.
I would love to know.
Because now I have to know if all 3 play Rollin.
Because I don't know, like usually you can just Google something, but I don't know if you can Google that. Signature Jams, Undertaker 2000, what music does it play? Like, I don't know that that's going to result in anything,
Yeah. Luckily, I think I have them at the top of one of my bins, so I will check that out.
I would love to see if they work. Like, do they play just generic whatever? Or do they play Rollin, Kid Rock? Interesting. Do they have the licensing for that?
Yeah. All good questions, which I will find the answer out to.
Cliffhanger for anybody.
Cliffhanger. We always leave them on a cliffhanger so they can join us next time for December 16th, 2000, Monday Night Raw. The Undertaker and Rock face Edge and Christian to win the World Tag Team Championships. Undertaker's 4th Tag Team Championship victory, but his first as the American Badass.
And the Rock, I'm not a Rock expert, but that's got to be about the 3rd or 4th tag title reign for the Rock too. Got to be close after he won it with the Rock and Sock a couple times, I think.
Yeah, he won it with the Rock and Sock a couple times. I don't know if he won it with the Nation.
I don't think so he's got to be on reign number 3 or 4 also.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if it was Rock's 4th as well.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like Rock and Undertaker were always like neck and neck with championship reigns. Because I think Undertaker had 7 world reigns. I think Rock has 7 world title reigns. So it's interesting. Like they're always like neck and neck with each other.
Right.
They both have 1 Royal Rumble victory. So it's like their careers are, right there.
It just took Undertaker 30 years to do all that. And it took Rock about 5 or whatever it was. Yeah. Interesting. Did Undertaker ever beat Rock on pay-per-view? I don't know that he did.
King of the Ring, 1999.
Oh, he did. Yeah, that's right. Nice.
Yeah. One of my favorite matches actually of his Ministry era. I like the one with Rock.
And that's not a lot of times like, oh well, Undertaker beat Austin in Cold Day in Hell 97 before he was big. I mean, he wasn't Stone Cold Steve Austin yet. Not the Austin we would know, Yeah,
he was just getting big because he was just coming off like that Bret Hart match.
Yeah.
So it was like right there.
Yeah, and but Rock and King of the Ring 99, Rock's a made man. He's a former champion.
Yeah. Former champion like 2 or 3 times by that time.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got babyface People's Champion Rock. So yeah, it's pretty good.
He did not beat him in Milwaukee at No Way Out 2002.
I know. Thanks to that dastardly Ric Flair and his wrench or pipe, whatever he used.
But I did love that because it did set up Ric Flair and Undertaker for WrestleMania, which I also went to, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good match." Ric Flair and the Undertaker.
And Ric Flair, another timely in the news. Apparently, I heard.
Yeah, so that was I stayed up last night to watch that Dark Side of the Ring plane ride from hell, and it's funny. I had always heard like the funny version of the story, like, oh, they had a plane ride and they were wrestling on the plane, and they cut off Michael P.S. Hayes' hair, like, ha ha ha. I didn't hear half of the stuff that went on until I watched that episode yesterday, and holy crap.
Yeah. Well, because Undertaker was not on that flight. He was on the first plane ride from hell, the one where he chokes out Kurt Angle for like trying to like choke out Vince.
Yes.
Like, no, we're just playing. Oh, okay. And then Undertaker goes back to sleep because he had his ear cut off basically by Austin.
And that's what I had thought about as I'm watching this episode. I'm like, where doesn't Vince wrestle Kurt Angle? When does that happen? But I forgot that it was a different flight.
Yeah. And I'm thinking as I'm watching that yesterday, this is what happens when Undertaker's not on a flight.
Right. Yeah. They talked about how, it's not Vince's job, I guess. It's JR's job to go back there and bust some heads. And I'm like, man, if the Undertaker was there, I don't think
if Undertaker was there, he would have thrown people off of that plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's what happens. That's what I'm thinking to myself. This is what happens when Undertaker's not on a flight.
Wow. That's kind of crazy. And I know that, they talk about the culture in pro sports locker rooms. This is kind of, they haze each other, they prank each other. That's just kind of what it is. But it's like, I don't know if we should accept that culture anyway, but even if you do, the stewardesses and everybody are not part of that. They are outside of this culture. They don't understand it. So maybe leave them alone. Tough.
Yeah. It's like Ric Flair getting drunk. Oh, tell me something I don't know, right? Tell me something I don't know.
I think I read some, I forget what I saw on Twitter, and I scrolled past it really fast, but it was before the episode aired. And somebody asked Ric Flair about, this week, the Plane Ride from Hell episode is going to air on Dark Side of the Ring. And Flair said something like, oh man, everything was going so good for me. Like, it's almost like he knew.
Everything was going so good for me.
Like, everything was going so good for me too. Like he knew like it was going to go badly after it aired. And yeah, it kind of was bad.
Well, you don't call him the Nature Boy for nothing.
He's Ric Flair, man. He gets a pass, I guess. Yeah.
Well, what can you say? 20 years ago.
And now, from what I understand now, not that we were backstage then and not that we're backstage now, but it's much different now. Like, it's, from what I understand, it's mostly tame. Everybody's like into their video games on the plane. Everybody's into chilling out. It's not what it was back in the day, even 20 years ago. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because there's like, not only has the locker room changed a lot, and the mentality is like, there's nobody of that generation there any longer to like be there full time.
Right.
So when Undertaker is there, or when like Triple H is back there, or anybody from that generation, it's just like maybe for a couple weeks or even for like an episode, and then it's like back to everybody else. So it's like,
yeah, I think JR was talking about in that episode last night that it's almost like if anything good came out of this, it's like the young kids learned from the veterans on that flight what not to do, and then the culture's changed a little bit going forward. It's not really that way anymore, to my understanding.
Yeah, that's true.
It's good, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think Zack Ryder talked about, like, Zack Ryder and Matt Cardona on his podcast, he's talked about how, like, back in the day, you didn't look at your phone during Raw backstage, or you didn't play video games on your phone backstage because Undertaker would have killed you.
You should be watching and learning.
Yeah. But now it's a little bit, now with everything being Twitter, they want you to get on your phone and like promote yourself. And yeah.
Not backstage now. Undertaker may be on his phone.
Right. Now that he's got Twitter and Instagram and everything else.
Yeah. It's just changing with the times.
I'm just glad he's got this movie coming out, because I don't know if he'll wrestle again. But this is a nice way. I think I tweeted Talking Taker. Right, I know you're praying for it. I tweeted Talking Taker, and I was like, "This is a good way to get new Undertaker stuff without him having to wrestle, if that's what he chooses to do." It's nice. It's nice to get a movie at least. I'll take that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't. I don't think anybody would be opposed to him coming back and wrestling, because he brings like that nostalgic feeling and everything like that. But it's if that's what he wants to do, just keep supporting him and watching that stuff. And I'm cool with it. I'm cool with anything he does.
Right. I'll take a movie. Movie's better than nothing. So I'll take
Movie
it.
is better than nothing.
I didn't expect this at all. So I will take this.
Left field. It's the leftist of field I could ever think of.
Like when I tweeted you and I tweeted Talking Taker when I saw it on my horror blog. What Bloody Disgusting is a horror blog.
It was on a horror blog.
Because it's a horror movie, I guess, technically. But I'm like, so I was Bloody Disgusting tweeting about the Undertaker. I'm like, what? This can't be real, So that's why I was like, oh my God.
Because it was not even like promoted or even talked about or even hinted at, like nothing. It's just like, boom, there it is. Like, what?
And not even since. Like, why can't WWE say something about it? I mean, I know I fast forward through a lot of commercials, but like, why can't WWE say something about it on Raw or SmackDown and say like, hey, couple weeks, this is like, say something like you would for the Rock's movie,
Yeah. I don't even think they promoted the Rock's movie, I think once, like the week before. And it's like, he's a former superstar.
Right.
Ugh. But maybe they'll have Undertaker appear on Raw or SmackDown to promote it once.
That would be nice. I would take that.
Yeah. Especially now that Big E's champion.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect segue.
Right.
Perfect segue.
My son was very disappointed on Monday night. He wasn't awake, but to learn the next day that Bobby Lashley is no longer the WWE champion, because that's been like a long time. I forget how long Lashley's had it, but like that's all my son knows is that Bobby Lashley's the champion on Monday. He's got the belt, and I'm like, well, hey, just so you know, yesterday Bobby Lashley lost. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah. Bobby Lashley lost the belt to Big E. No, he didn't. And so I had to show him on my phone that I wasn't lying. I had to show him, this 3-year-old, like I had to prove it, that Bobby Lashley lost the title. So he was very disappointed that Bobby Lashley is no longer champion. I don't know how we're going to get over it.
Well, if I could get over Undertaker losing to Edge cashing in on him, I'm sure your son could get over Bobby Lashley losing.
If I could get over Shawn Michaels costing the Undertaker the title against Bret Hart and I got on the highway going the wrong way, I'm sure my son can get over Bobby Lashley.
If we can get over so many like hills and mountains we had as Undertaker fans just to get over things, so many parallels we had to face, I'm sure your son be fine.
Yeah. Monday night's going to be interesting when he doesn't come out with the belt. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah. Should be. That's for the next episode that we do together. You have to let me know how everything's going on in your household.
Another cliffhanger, right?
Another. We are just leaving my listeners with cliffhanger after cliffhanger. They just want to know how your household's gonna react to Bobby Lashley not being champion, and what song does those signature jam Undertaker play.
That's right. The world needs to know this information.
The world needs to know this information.
Yeah.
And we shall provide it for them next time when The Rock and The Undertaker team up together against Edge and Christian to win the first and only tag team championships together. That lasts a whopping 4 days.
Yeah, that's we'll do that one in October. So it won't be in December, but it'll be in October.
Yeah, it'll be in October.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't wait. Looking forward to it.
My apologies, by the way, for the delay on the.
As mine as well.
We both took turns with taking turns on the delay.
Yes.
I had that. I went right from Chicago to first of the month stuff at work. Then the Gopher season started. So Gopher football started. I had to go to. So I got season tickets. So I went to two.
I saw.
I went to 2 home games in that time, and so many things going on. Well, I had an anniversary in there, a wedding anniversary, and they're like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, don't want to forget that one.
No, do not want to forget that one at all. No.
Yes. But we did it. We made it here. Listeners were taken through twists and turns with this match, our lives, and everything in between dealing with the Undertaker. And I guess on the end note, got the Netflix movie coming up, which we can't wait until gonna have to put out like special episode talking about that.
Yeah, that's on the 5th. If we do our next watch along after the 5th, we'll have to break down the movie a little bit and talk about it.
Break down the movie. Yeah. That's gonna be interesting. It depends how it's laid out. Maybe we can even do a watch along of the movie.
Right. We can do one of the versions depending on how many versions there are.
I actually want to see how they do this because I've never seen anything like this.
No, I've never heard of anything like this.
So if it's something like choose your own adventure, we can do a watch along where we choose our own adventure.
Sure.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
I'm in. You don't got to tell me twice.
Oh, I don't have to do much convincing to bring you back to do watch alongs to this to the podcast. As always, Randy, it is a pleasure talking to you. Such a great conversationalist as always.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, mutual. It takes two to tango, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I try my best.
Yeah.
I'm only as good as my guest, and you are always a pleasure to have here.
Thanks.
So until next time, Creatures of the Night, I hope you have enjoyed this bonus watch along. I know you can't wait until the next one, but until then, we are leaving you on a few cliffhangers. But you'll join us next time. So keep on rolling, baby.